Morning, everybody. I hope you are well. This is your sister Amma. This is Amma Muses, and you know, when Amma Muses, big elephants come to the room. Big elephants always come to the room. So listen. Today's topic is a smoking hot one as usual. So a sister of mine calls me and she says, Amma, I am so satisfied with every aspect of my life except romance. I am dissatisfied with the romance in my life. And I'm looking at this woman like, well, love, you are married. She says, and so what? What makes you think that being married means I'm being romanced? So Amma pauses, Amma thinks, Amma considers, and I begin to see what she's saying. Oh my good God. The fact that we are married doesn't necessarily mean that we are being romanced. The fact that we are married doesn't mean that we are not lonely. The fact that we are married doesn't necessarily mean our needs are being met. Right, dear single people, listen to this one. It might cheer you up somewhat. Hilarious, but not funny at all. Let's talk. So then this question becomes, I began to do a little bit of research amongst my friends and my associates, and I started asking people, what is romance? One of my friends actually says romance is what happens in storybooks and on the television. When everything is so pristine and everything is so perfect, that is romance. I'm like, ooh, I actually see your point too. I was beginning to see everybody's points. Wow. Another person says romance is when somebody takes you over speed so that your breathing rate is no longer normal. Romance is when somebody is so soft, so personal with you. Somebody treats you so differently from the rest that it makes you so special. It makes you forget everything else. That is romance. Romance is when somebody's everyday activities makes you smile. Puts that soft spot in your heart just for them. That is romance. Romance has a physical aspect to it too. Oh yeah. To be romanced is to be wooed. To be wooed. Now, to woo somebody, very simple word to spell, but very difficult to do. And to sustain that wooing in a long-term relationship is what I want to talk to you about. So the original friend who is dissatisfied with just one aspect of her life, romance. And she says to me, my marriage is good on the outside. Most people envy what we have. We actually do get along as human beings. We do. But there is no romance. And sometimes, in spite of everything in this relationship, in spite of everything that is solid and good about it, I have this basic need to be romanced. I have this very basic requirement of feeling that flutter in my heart. I want to be excited by this. And because I am not feeling the excitement, sometimes I wonder if there is any point. Very sincere, frank discussion we had. But it's a sincere, frank discussion which has had me thinking about my own life at the moment as sincerely as I should do. And to be honest, the more I ponder, the more I reflect on what she said, the more I see some common sense, really. What is life if you can't be happy? One aspect of happiness is that feeling of euphoria. Is that feeling when nothing really matters because you are on cloud 9. We get that in the early days of our relationships. Some people maintain it for long periods of a relationship. Very few people sustain it till the very end. But so she says, Amma, let me ask you a point blank question and don't beat about the bush. Answer me sincerely. I'm like, okay. If my marriage is not hitting the spot for me, if in spite of everything I do, in spite of all the efforts I make, and I have to say he also does make some efforts, It happens for 3 days and then we're back to the normal drudge. Really, same old, same old. Amma, you said in a video that we all deserve to be happy. I'm like, oh my God, when people start quoting my own videos, it's not good. It's not good because it makes it very difficult then for me to have a comeback, to have an answer. You said in one of your own videos, Amma, that what is life if we are not happy? What's the point of prolonging life if there is no happiness? So Amma, what is the point of prolonging marriage if it is no longer satisfactory? Like, well, you prolong marriage because of commitment. It's okay, fair deal. You prolong marriage because of the children. She said, there, no longer works. You prolong marriage because of companionship. She says, what companionship? Marriage should be a relationship, not a situationship. I'm looking at this kid like, you've seen too many of my videos. You have seen too many of my videos. You've spoken to me on too many times. So I'm asking you a question right now. Those of you in long-term relationships, is your heart still fluttering? Are you still excited? Does the person you are with actually make an effort to excite you, to take you from the ordinary, to do wonderful things that change simple things to give you an incredible experience? Does that person do that? And more importantly, are you capable of doing that for this other person? If both of you are still capable of doing that, then you are lucky. You are in the very, very limited few. If you find that you are not, there are two things to do. It's actually possible for you to self-reflect and for you to consciously choose to make that difference in somebody's life in a sustained way that it just has to be reciprocated. It has to be reciprocated. But you have to have a conviction in your mind before you go down this route. It is you who is on a crusade. Please understand this. It is your crusade. And as in many crusades, you go into a crusade expecting that it's a long-term crusade. Do you have the commitment to do that for somebody in the long term so that eventually it might be reciprocated and you might also be a beneficiary? Can you do that? Are you willing to do that? And my friend is like, I've tried, I've given it everything. Sometimes I try these things. I book a getaway, and on the way to the getaway, a person is on their phone, so I cancel the trip and we come back home. I'm like, what? She says, yeah. I've tried it a few times. I booked for us to go somewhere. We drive into this place. I'm driving, I'm trying to hold a conversation with this person. I really have booked for us to go somewhere. We have talked about the relationship not working as well as it should. So we go into this retreat, we go into this place to reconnect. We've taken the effort of organizing for somebody to have the kids. We are in the car, we are driving, and I cannot get a string of words, so much as a 6-word string in a sentence. I am getting yes. I am getting no. Maybe. And at the next roundabout, I took a U-turn and I went straight back home. Like, sis, what's going on? Why didn't you go to the place? It would have. She says, I'm going to listen to my story before you judge. Been there, done that before. On some occasions, we've actually made it to this retreat. On some occasions, I thought getting to the place might change things. On the first night, I thought maybe we are tired. We need to get into the groove of things. And then by the second night, I am fuming. I am angry. I am no longer willing to try. And the experience actually ruins the relationship more than it was when we left home. So on this occasion, to avoid being bitter, to avoid being disappointed, when I see the same signs, I can clearly tell that the outcomes are going to be the same. So on this occasion, I elected not to see the process through because I will come back home a more bitter woman. before you hear some of these arguments, it's easy for you to have preconceived ideas, right? It's very easy. In my childish mind, booking to leave the house, going to a new setting, creating a new atmosphere might be enough of a stimulus. But on some occasions, it clearly isn't. So my question really is, what is this romance? What are you after? Explain to me what this romance is, and maybe when you are clear what the romance is, you might be able to communicate that to a partner, and that person might have a chance to romance you successfully. And she says, well, I just want to see a genuine smile on a person's face when they see me. No, Amma, not like that. A smile must be from the soul. It must be so sincere that it glistens in your eyes. That is romance. Romance is when you come and you hug me and you keep me for a few seconds and you kiss my neck, not necessarily looking for an outcome. That is romance. Romance is when you actually listen to what goes on in my mind and you find it funny and you tell me that it's funny. I'm as funny as. And it excites me. That is romance. But I'm like, to be honest, from my angle, from my point of view, your marriage is very romantic. And she says, what do you mean? Like, well, your husband buys you flowers all the time. I've seen him do it. And you confess to it. She's like, yeah, it's flowers. It's not the buying of the flowers. It's not the routine of the flowers. It is the feeling behind the delivery of the flowers. And I'm like, oh my God. So at the moment, he knows that I like flowers. He knows that you all know that he gives flowers and I appreciate it. So I get flowers every week. But Amma, the delivery of the flowers lets me know there is no feeling behind the gift. At this point, I'm deflated. It's really difficult for me to combat some of these because they are heartfelt, they are very sincere, and they are very logical too. Yeah, the flowers come every week. It's become a routine. It's become part of a culture. It's become a practice. It's something you do. Even the kissing on the cheek, which happens all the time, I'm like, yeah, it's an impersonal kiss, Amma. It's an impersonal kiss. All of you on the outside sees his hands all over me all the time. He kisses my cheek, he holds my hand, he does X, he does Y, but there is no feeling behind it. I can tell. It's as cold as, it's empty. There is no romance in my life. Yes. When we retire and it's just me and this person, there is nothing to say to each other now. No romance in my life. When I have a deep worry, when something bothers me, when I need a sounding board, Amma, I call you. There is no romance in my life. I should not call you. I should call him. I should be keen to share with him. I should look forward to communicating with him. But I am talking to a brick wall. So I am also retreating and I am surrendering and I have a wall coming up around me. I am building my wall of defense. It's impermeable. It's difficult to penetrate. See, romance is dead in my life. How many of you recognize some of what my friend is actually discussing? And if I'm honest, I actually do recognize some of it. I have to be sincere about it. It made me start looking at things, and I wondered if there is a routine to things and there might be a ceremony to things. It made me ponder, it made me think. And initially, when I started thinking, my brain says, Amma, you are looking for trouble here. But after a while, my brain says, no, if there is trouble, you should find it. If trouble does exist, you should find it. If inadequacies do exist, you should find it. And if you find it and it's possible to resolve them, then resolve them. Do everything you can to resolve them. But please don't pretend that they don't exist. Don't pretend that they don't exist. No, don't hide what you find. Don't hide it. Communicate as openly and as bluntly as you can. It is not floating my boat. No, that's not romance. Nah, that's not exciting. No, smacking my bottom after 15, 20 years, not really. Doesn't really get anywhere with that one. The other person needs to know. They need to be very clear of what's going on in your head. Both of you, as long as you remain together, as long as you are in this relationship together, have to commit to that. Your deepest thoughts should actually be openly known to the person who shares your space and your life. They should be clear what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. They should be clear when even that is changing. They should know when needs are transforming, because they do transform. What was acceptable to a younger self might no longer be acceptable to an older, mature self. So older, mature self ought to put this fact across quite clearly so that there is no ambiguity whatsoever over there. Listening to this conversation is a tough one, isn't it? Because it's asking you to introspect. Is there romance in your life? Are you even a romantic? Some of us are. Some of you are not. So for some people, this is just balderdash. There's no point in this one because you don't require this. But for some of us who are romantic at heart, we do need that va-va-voom of excitement. We need that to validate our existence. We need that to validate our relationships. We need that to know that something is meeting a purpose. There's a purpose in being part of a couple. The difference between being part of a long-term couple and being a singleton who is meeting individuals on a daily basis is this: that you should be comfortable, you should be settled. And what you are comfortable and settled with should be meeting your emotional needs romantically. Is yours floating your boat? Have you also seen things that are also not perfect but could be fixed? Fix it. Give it everything you have. Fix it like your life depends on it, because in fact your happiness does, and your life depends on your happiness. The quality of your life is determined by these experiences. As I always say, it's not how long you are here for, but it is the quality of the experience of the time you have here. It is not simply having a ring on your finger, not at all. It is whether the relationship which is behind the ring actually is fit for purpose. No, it's not the title Mrs. which matters. Are you really a Mrs. in practice? Are you part of a couple? Do you know what it means to be a couple? Have you explored the requirements of being a couple? Have you seen the emotional requirements of being a couple? Or have you just bought into a title? My name is Amma. I've asked you the difficult questions, and this is my point to run, escape. No, I am not offering you any solutions on this one. Sorry. You're on your own. You're on your own with this one, kid. You will have to inflect. You will have to introspect. You will have to look within, and you will have to come up with your own answers, just as I am retreating to go and do the same for me. And if you come up with your answers and you want to share them openly, please do put them in the comments. If you want to hold a discussion about this, use my video as a stimulus. Invite your girlfriends and your mates, your buddies to watch it and start asking one another this question. Is there romance in your life? Are your emotional needs being met? Are your physicals even being met? Oops, that's a story for another one. I'm out of here. It's Amma Manson on all social media handles. Search for me, you'd see other ones in this series. You will see other topics that I discuss. My job is to bring the elephants to the table, but the killing and the dissection of the elephant is up to you. Catch you for the next episode. See ya.